No, the Cleveland Browns. They didn't win a game. They're in trouble. That's what you're referring to, right? What are you talking about? Yeah, there they are.
What do you got there?
I've got popsicle sticks, but not popsicles.
I got to ask you, we played turf war between the Jets and the Giants. Who gets the best of who in different situations? How's that going over on Twitter for you?
Well, when the starting guard for the team that you covered when they won the Super Bowl starts texting you before you even get back to the desk because he's mad at you. Not good. Not good.
We've got 60 minutes to make it up right now.
Here we go.
Let's do it. Nate Burles and Kyle Brent alongside. Let's do the thing. Time for the
lead.
That was beautiful, Nate.
Thank you.
The Jets created some drama, speaking of the Jets, at the top of next month's draft in Dallas. I want to take a closer look at the 4 teams with the top 5 picks. So you're looking at the Browns. You guys should have a logo for the Jets, the Giants, the Broncos. We're going to play Name That Team. Here's how it works. I say some things, and you guys pick a team. So 3 of these teams acquired a quarterback in free agency, and the Giants, have a Super Bowl MVP as their starter, who you said had the quarterback advantage over the Jets, Mike Polo. They could all still draft a quarterback next month in Dallas. Which team has to really stick their landing the most? Who is it most important to stick that landing with the quarterback?
Do I start, Mike? You absolutely have to stick the landing. Now, Mike McCagnon knows that, and that's why he made that move up to get in position to draft a quarterback. I find it interesting that he's in a position where he doesn't know which guy's going to be there. You saw the Rams go up to #1 a couple of years ago because they wanted Jared Goff. The Eagles knew that they were going to take Goff, so they said, well, we like this guy Wentz better, so we're going to go up to #2. The Jets moved up to #3 and said, we'll see what happens at 1 and 2, and then we'll pick whoever is remaining of the guys. So they must like the cluster equally to have made that move. But Mike McCagnon, at this point, they stripped everything to the studs last year. Now there's got to be signs of progress. Absolutely has to nail the quarterback.
The first pick.
Oh.
We can't do this again. We can't have the #1 overall pick. Okay, let me tell you about the last 24 hours for myself. Yesterday we did a segment here. We did a mock draft of how we thought it would go. And I represented the Browns, and I took Josh Rose with the #1 pick. And then I took Josh Allen with the #4 pick. Okay? Now, when we started doing that, I was kind of doing some satire. But then when I started getting into the research, I became serious. The Twitter reactions, most of people not happy with it. But there's a certain breed of people there who are saying, you know what? I think they should do this. And let me put the case out there one more time. If they had doubled down historically, when they drafted Johnny Manziel, they would have gotten Derek Carr. That's the second quarterback.
It's always the next guy.
Yes. If with Brandon Weeden, they would have gotten Nick Foles. And there's more examples for that. Talk to the Washington Redskins. They took RG3 and they said, you know what? Let's draft Kirk Cousins as well. Look how that turned out. I am not kidding. I'm not doing a farce. I know it won't happen. I think the Browns should double dip. Hedge your bet. You cannot mess this up. Get 2 of them. That's my take.
Well, listen, I'm going to double dip, but it's a different flavor. I'm going complete opposite. The team that needs to land the quarterback spot the most is the Cleveland Browns, and not because they're drafting one, because they already have one. You have Tyrod Taylor, you have Kessler, you also have Hogan. Here's the thing. You stick with that roster. We heard Hugh come out and say, Tyrod is our guy. This is their team. You go get Barkley. Then you wait till 4. Quentin Nelson, you can get Bradley Chubb. It doesn't matter what you want to do at that position because you can literally pick the best player. You don't have to go out there and get a QB that's going to end up sitting behind your starting quarterback, which is Tyrod Taylor. So, Cleveland Browns, if you're bold enough to do it, if you're bold enough to stick with Tyrod Taylor, go out and get 2 guys that can help your team outside of the quarterback position.
All right, these teams all drafting at the top for a reason. They're coming off not so great years. They need a rebound from disappointing seasons. So, out of all of these squads, guys, who's under the most pressure going into the draft? Less than 40 days away from the draft.
I'm going with this team.
Big Blue.
I'm going with this team. I'm going with this quarterback. I'm going with Odell Beckham. I'm going with that defense who had problems. They were looking like a brotherhood a couple of years ago, and then last year looked like they all hated each other or hated the system or even hated the organization. They played within. Some guys are still there. Some guys aren't. But we're talking about what's going to happen with this offense. Can they get a running game? Is Eli too old? Is the offense going to help? What is Odell going to look like? He's bouncing back for injury. It's the New York Football Giants. They have all the pressure in the world. Kyle, last year before the season, he said they could possibly be Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, I thought they would.
And they were underwhelming in so many areas. And the thing is, I agree with you. They were so talented. They got the talent. What's going to happen next year?
If they don't draft a quarterback at #2, then they're under the most pressure, in my opinion, because then you are saying whoever you take is either Quentin Nelson or Saquon Barkley, and you are officially saying, yep, Odell's here, Eli's 37, and we are going all in, chips all in right now, coming off a 3-win season. If they don't take a quarterback, the bright lights are on.
Terrific analysis, Kay. I'm going to try and clarify the question. They're under the most pressure to do well in the draft?
To nail the draft.
To nail the draft? Right here, okay? I'm going to tell you why. Because they don't have the depth that they used to have. This is not the same kind of roster. They have Von Miller. They have a lot of veterans on the front line that they still believe they can compete with, including Demaryius Thomas. But they do not have that depth. They have not nailed their drafts in the last couple of years. They have got to do that. Gary Kubiak is now back there helping out in a, I forget what his title is, but he started as a consultant, but he's moving into a more permanent role. They've got to build, and the only way to build depth on your roster is to draft well. Denver Broncos, John Elway, I've got to see that depth, and I've got to see it starting with this draft right here.
Do you think they don't take a quarterback?
I think there's a good chance they do not take a quarterback.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
I would love to follow suit with you, but I got to bring it back to these guys. Truly, because they're not rebuilding.
Right.
The Browns are building from scratch.
Yeah.
The Jets are building. These guys are. I said, like we said about the Niners last year. First of all, I don't like seeing the Giants at the top of the draft. It's beneath them. Meantime, the Jets are about to get a flashy new quarterback. The Redskins are going to be better this year. The Eagles are a juggernaut. And the Cowboys aren't going to lay an egg either. These guys have a lot of pressure because they have a different standard, and they're not going to be here again. At 2, New York Giants, not a chance. A lot of pressure here.
Up next, got to talk about the Bills. They've not talked enough about the Bills, and it's so intriguing with what they are deciding to do. They already moved up 9 spots to the 12th overall pick by trading tackle Cordy Glenn to the Bengals. But GM Brandon Beane probably, in my opinion, looking to get a quarterback moving into that top 5 to grab himself a franchise one, in fact. So if Buffalo calls, they're picking up the phone, Nate, which team should they trade with?
Well, I mean, the simple answer is that, you have multiple picks in the top 5, and you can say, listen, you want to get up here? You want to get up here and taste a little bit of this? The 4.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get rid of the 1. The 1 is like, that's the gold. That's the gold
That
in
might be
this
a good
draft.
move for 4.
You go ahead and say, listen, you want to give us something else to help us load up on more draft picks? They've been doing well so far. They've been able to kind of leverage some of these picks over the last couple of years. I'm going with the Browns.
Listen, if that happens, it's a possibility. There could be a slide back at 4. It's going to be a draft night thing because you're not going to do what the Jets did and put yourself now behind 3 teams, including your divisional rival. So that would be hey, the Giants stayed at 2, and they took Saquon. There's another quarterback out there. Speaking of the Giants at 2, that's the spot. I mean, you got to move up there if you want to get in front of the Jets. Because you don't want to see the guy that you want now all of a sudden in a Jets uniform because you couldn't get up there in front of them. And it's going to be a king's ransom. I mean, there was a draft a couple of years ago where the Dolphins went from 12 to 3 to take Deion Jordan, and they gave up virtually nothing because it wasn't a top-heavy draft, and it wasn't a quarterback-heavy draft. You got a different situation this year. You've got the quarterbacks at the top. To go from 12 all the way up to 2, it's going to have to start with a first-round pick, and then there's going to have to be some seriously good sweeteners on the back end of that as well.
Why would they wait till draft night if you have Arizona, potentially even Miami, trying to make deals as well?
Not if they go to 2.
Get into the top 5.
Not if they go to 2. I'm saying if they go to 4.
Okay.
That would be the move. They would probably wait till draft night. If they go ahead of the draft relatively soon, and Brandon Beane did tell Peter King for MMQB this week that he's not sure right now. And I sort of believe that. He hasn't spent enough time with these guys. There are players in his head that he's formulated ahead of other ones. You have to be if you're a GM and you're an opinionated guy like Beane is.
Maybe this is really telling, but I didn't get it Denver, so can I borrow your Broncos?
I don't know why I haven't.
I don't know why I'm gonna do the Broncos. I'm gonna try. At 5. I'm gonna say, you want to come down to 5? It's a little risky because you don't know what you're going to get at 5. Though quarterbacks might be gone. Do you want to take a gamble that Saquon's going to go or Quentin Nelson's going to go? I don't know if the Bills would do it, but if Denver, I'm sure going to try because we have a quarterback. I'm going to ride with Case. I'll move down. Come up to 5 if you really want it that bad and see what you can do from there. If Denver, I would sell everything to move out of 5.
If you're Beane, would you go to 5?
No, because you might get screwed. You might be left with nothing in the cupboard, and there's 4 quarterbacks, and I'm not ready to take Lamar Jackson as the 5th overall pick, so I wouldn't do it. But if Denver, I would try.
Finally, at last year's draft in Philadelphia, there were some enthusiastic fans, a lot of them actually, probably like 1 million of them, from all across the NFL. So at this year's draft in Dallas, which of these teams is going to have the loudest fan base present?
I don't have an Eagles stick because I guess they're not eligible, but they're going to go down there. You know that thing with the fact that the Cowboys tried to take over? I feel like they're going to represent and move down there, especially as world champs. But I will hold up another green team, the Jets, because the way I look at this, the Jets are going to get a cool player, whether it be a flashy new quarterback, Saquon, they're going to be crazy loud. I also think if the Jets, by some strange turn of events, take Quentin Nelson, they will go ballistic because we just spent the 3rd overall pick on an offensive guard.
Yeah.
Either way, decibels, gangrene, they win the thing every year. Jets.
It's so blue every year, no matter who you
Yeah, and that's loud.
Yeah.
Listen, I would love to see what the scene would have been like with the Giants at 2 and the Jets at 3 at Radio City, but if ifs and buts and candy and nuts. I am going with these guys. It's NFC East territory, number 1.
Okay.
And number 2,
okay, kiddo.
I see a kid. Number 2, I've already been asked, hey, can you get me tickets to the draft by a Giants fan, by a huge Giants fan. So I'm going on personal experience here.
Sean O'Hara wants tickets to the draft.
Right, exactly. And Rich Seibert.
Yeah.
I really do believe that
you
you're
got
going to
tickets
hear
to
the
the draft?
noise.
You got the hookup?
I don't. That's why I'm saying. I don't know how I'm going to fill that request, but I got the
I
request.
can go with a sign that says, I need tickets outside the draft and a piece of cardboard.
Exactly. That might wind up being the case for me, but in the meantime, loudest fans, the Cowboys, because you're going to get the Cowboy reaction too, so they got to overtake that.
I like
and
that.
Giants.
That's good.
And I'm going to agree with you. There's one thing that I appreciated when I played was the rivalry between the Cowboys and the Giants.
Yeah.
But now, living in Jersey, working in New York, understanding how real this is from a fan perspective, I'm going with the Giants. I feel like they're going to show up and they're going to show out and they're going to talk a lot of trash because they're in Dallas. And, of course, Giants fans still feel like they're a better team than everybody else in the world, and they want to see how the draft works out.
The issue the Giants are having is clear. Are they winning now, or are they planning for the future? You as an NFL fan, what do you want to see the Giants do? Not even at the draft, but do you want to see them go all in, or do you want to have them think about the future, create some depth, and not take a guy whenever Eli decides he's done?
Future smoocher. Let's win right now. Let's win a Super Bowl in 2018. And I truly think that means Saquon or Quentin Nelson.
I would be so happy
There
if
you go.
it's
So would I.
Saquon.
So would I. I mean, listen,
And
they're
they're
going
just
to do
not
the
going
thing.
to.
It's very practical and prudent to get a quarterback of the future. Eli's not 40. He's 37. Let's win a Super Bowl this year, immediate impact. Saquon, Odell, Landon Collins, rock stars. I would love it. I don't know if they'll do it.
Then they should trade with Denver, and maybe Saquon falls to them at the 5 spot. Because if you're not taking a quarterback at number 2, you should not be drafting at number 2.
Wow.
Right. No, it's true.
That's
Get out of
Hayes
there.
policy.
Get out of there.
I like it.
You're right.
All right, coming up, our Mike Mayock is at USC to cover